And here we are, live in the club. Hello,
Yay!
Ola.
Hi, Nina. Hi, everyone. Lovely to meet you all. I'm not even meeting you, but hello.
Good morning to England. Am I right?
Yes, that's correct. It's a
So
very
it's
cold and gloomy morning, but yeah,
and it's 9 o'clock
yeah,
only.
yeah,
You just got back home from dropping your son
yeah.
off
That's
at
correct.
school. Am I right?
Yeah.
We have a lot of things to talk about, so we better
I
start
know.
now.
Very excited. Thank you so much for inviting me, and I'm super excited to be here and chat to you and answer any questions. Yeah.
I don't think I have ever been this excited about a
Oh.
guest. So, my dear, I would like to officially welcome you in our club for ELT entrepreneurs, female ELT entrepreneurs, and share your story of building your ESL business from scratch and transforming into a business coach for English teachers. We have a lot to talk about. We want to talk about the healthy mindset of an independent teacher and also overcoming our limiting beliefs, thinking like a business person, what we can expect will be. In or hot in 2023. And of course, we will mostly talk about, but all this belongs to the topic of selling courses online or offline in general, selling
Absolutely.
courses, being authentic, niching, creating offers. Maybe we'll touch the topic of pricing as well. That would be great. And in general, attracting good quality clients. So, how much time do you have? The whole day, I suppose.
Ah, we could talk about this all day. We
Yeah,
could.
but we don't have the whole day. Let's try and get as much into this as possible. And ladies,
Absolutely.
please ask questions now during the live stream or after. If you're watching the recorded version, as usual, our guest will stay with us in the group for a while. She loves building communities. I see her very active in different places. So I'm sure if you have questions and tag her, she'll be very happy to
Absolutely.
answer. I asked Ola before we did this, can I ask about anything? And it's up to you how much you share. And she said, just pick my brain. I'm just so happy to share whatever I know. And I really appreciate it. So once again, thank you for accepting my invitation
No
and
problem. Thank you
welcome.
so much for such a warm welcome. I really feel very special. And thanks. And as Nina said, you can ask me anything here on Facebook or on Instagram. I'm always on Instagram. Even if I'm not posting, I'm always on Instagram. So, yeah, would be lovely to hear from
I
you.
didn't even notice. I didn't even notice.
You see? That's what consistency does. Then you can just take a break and nobody notices.
Exactly. And people think, we teachers think that if we're not there making reels or creating new posts or stories, people will immediately notice. And they don't
I
because
mean,
we
they
generally.
might, but on the other hand, who cares? Like, what are they going to think? Like, I don't have the time to worry about this. Yesterday, I'm going to share this because I think it's quite significant. Yesterday, so I run a lot of projects. One of them being, and new this year, is my mastermind. And in the mastermind, I share like everything basically with the people who are in the mastermind. And yesterday I sent them a message that basically read something along the lines of, hello masterminders, this is your coach who hasn't been on for 5 days, and I just wanted to say that if you think that I always have everything under control and I'm like this perfect online present, then please know that no, I've lost my shit for the 10th day in a row. I've been working for 16 hours because there is a big project coming to an end, and just please know that it's okay. And that's it. I sometimes believe that it's more important for people to know that no, you don't have your shit together. you are a human being, and even if you work for yourself, you're going to put pressure on yourself as well, even more so, I would say, even though nobody is watching you. So yeah, I just felt like sharing this would do more good than me
Yeah.
creating a pointless reel on Instagram.
Absolutely. Yeah. Being real, being authentic,
Mm,
that's number one for us here as well.
mm.
So I just love what you're saying. So, Ola, can you please introduce yourself with your own words and tell us how you started and how it's
Sure.
going?
Sure, absolutely. So my name is Ola, and I've got the most common Polish last name, Kowalska, uh, which is not my name. It's my husband's name, but I think there is a nice ring to it, so I've decided to use it. I remember at the beginning of my business, I spent about a month thinking what I should call my business, and then, as you can see, it ended up being just Ola Kowalska, which is funny because it leads me to thinking that sometimes we spend too much time making decisions that literally don't matter.
Yeah.
And while yes, there was an element of that with in my journey, I think subconsciously I always knew that there are big things waiting for me, whatever those big things mean, because I don't think everything has unfolded and I'm like so open to everything. But I remember, I think the whole journey started at high school when I knew that I would be doing something with languages, but somebody told me it was a stupid idea. So I decided to study political sciences for my bachelor's, and it was just so pointless, honestly. Now I know why I did that, because I met my husband there. So it was supposed to happen. But there was an element of me thinking, oh my God, such a wasted time. It was so boring. Also, like the university where I studied, this was just honestly, bah.
I
Um,
relate to that so much. I couldn't wait to get out. And bless
honestly,
everyone
so
who stayed
stupid.
for
Yeah.
PhD. I was like, where's my diploma? Get me out of here.
And I only lasted until I got my bachelor's because it was pointless, honestly, so pointless. But okay, whatever. And I started teaching the minute I started studying. So I was 19 and I was teaching kids. I wasn't qualified at all, but in Poland it wasn't even required. So I did that for a bit. Then I started teaching like for real, um, around, I would say 2011. Yeah, a while ago, 12 years ago. Yeah, about that. And then when I completed my bachelor's, I took a break because I didn't know what to do. I knew I wanted to teach, but I didn't know, oh, do I want to start another degree or like what should I do? So I decided to do a part-time degree in education and teaching English to young learners because I thought I would be doing young learners, which I didn't last doing for too long. I do have the energy, but I don't have the patience. So I don't, like, I taught kids for 2 years, but it was too exhausting. So then I did my CELTA at some point, but I already had 5 years of experience. So it was like just like, the paper. I loved the whole experience of CELTA, but it
You
was
did?
nothing new.
Did you?
Sorry.
We all cried. Did you cry?
Do you know what? It wasn't that intensive for me because I'd had so much experience already. So I wasn't doing it as a newly
You had
qualified.
nice, you had nice trainers, I suppose. They
One
all
of
made
my
us
trainers
cry.
was nice, and I still remember a few of his. Like literally, I have like a photo of his comment on my lesson, and I remember it was an intensive experience, but I remember it could. I thought it could have been worse. I think I thought that back then because I think it's because I had so much experience at that time. It was
Mhm.
5 or 6 years
And this
teaching
was in
all
Poland,
sorts.
yeah?
Yeah, teaching all sorts. My tutors were English. One of them was Welsh. The other one was English.
Uh, mm.
Um, and there was a Polish lady as well. And I remember, like, I mean, it was a month out of my life completely. I didn't do anything else, but I
Okay.
remember it was like this feeling of, yep, this is what I'm meant to be doing. And then this was the first time I heard that you could even do a Delta, or you could even become a Celta trainer. Like honestly, all the like the world of possibilities has opened. So it was a massive, significant experience, but I I've never been a person who would cry under like academic pressure, I would say. 'Cause
Okay.
I don't know, like I am extremely emotional about everything else, but maybe not academic things.
Mhm.
So I did that. Then the same summer that I did my CELTA, I visited London for the first time, and I did like one of those things when you go with a group of teenagers and you look after them, and they have their English classes and like travel around London. And I was like a group leader for them, and I completely, like literally, it was my first time, but I fell in love with London. And I literally, this was July 2015. I texted my husband and I said, "Shall we move to London?" And he said, "Yeah, let's do that." And
That
then,
fast?
yeah, yeah. And
Just on a
for
whim.
the next 8 months, we were working like crazy, saving. I got a job at a place where I did my CELTA. So that was better pay, a little bit better, not that much. But I worked there, we saved up, and in February 2016, I quit my job and we moved to London completely. We like packed our suitcases and just went. So that was fun. And London was a bit, I mean, it was exciting, but it was hard because, like, I had a CELTA and I had a diploma, and I could theoretically teach in even in state schools because I had my MA diploma, but it wasn't really that easy. So I was looking for like hourly paid jobs, and it wasn't great. And I had to travel a lot. I remember that I had a job that was just seasonal, and I had to commute to it for an hour and a half one way. And it was, the area where it was great. It was beautiful. It was the place that I fell in love with, but it was just so exhausting. So yeah, I quickly realized I needed Delta to be a little bit more competitive on the market. And like, so in 6 months after we moved to London, I applied for a Delta and I got in, but then it got postponed. And in 2017, in the beginning of 2017, I started my Delta. And in the first class, I felt a bit weird. And I came back and it turned out I was pregnant. So that was a bit crazy. So I was doing my Delta, being pregnant. That was a very intensive time. It was 6 months of, yeah, insanity. And I was working part time because I wouldn't be able to afford it otherwise. So yeah. And I completed my Delta in June 2017. I got a merit, and I now think that it was because it's like a B on Celta basically. If people don't know what a Delta how Delta works, but basically I realized that it was because I didn't put pressure on myself, because I'm pregnant, so I can't just be too stressed because the baby and everything. So yeah, I think that's what worked. I let go. So I got the job. So I got my diploma. Then I did a little job in the summer as well. And then I had my maternity leave, which was a very dark period in my life. And then I got a job as a manager in a language school when I came back from my maternity leave. That was a year and a half later. Then I worked there for 2 years, became a CELTA trainer as well, which was super exciting. I remember it was like, honestly, when I was thinking about it, I did my CELTA trainer training in February 2022 when the whole pandemic thing was unfolding. And I remember it was so surreal for me. Everything was like, but I'm realizing my dreams here. Stop it with this stupid virus. It's so
Mhm.
bizarre. But I completed it, and the pandemic started. So I was doing lots of freelance CELTAs online. So I never did a CELTA face to face, never
Mhm.
ever, as a
Mhm.
trainer, everything. And I still do CELTAs. Now I don't have that much time, and it's so badly paid that, honestly, like you would think,
Compared to your independent business, yeah?
compared to my business, but also compared to teaching. Like, honestly, it's not
Uh-huh.
much more paid than teaching in
Okay.
London. It's people would think, oh, so much prestige. You're Delta qualified. You're a Celta tutor. Ha ha ha. No, it's really so shit. So I didn't really. I don't really have much time for it because there are things that bring me more money, actually. And yeah, it's at some point during the pandemic we realized that yeah, London was fun for a bit, but it's not anymore. So we quit everything again in London and we moved to the seaside in England. And I quit the job and I didn't know what I wanted to do. I had my online school in the background that I was running with my friend, but I didn't know if it was like the thing that I really wanted. I never felt too attached to it. And it took me about 5 months to realize that, but I could actually work with teachers. Huh. And I just had that light bulb moment one day. And I thought, yeah, I'm going to do that. And that's it. I decided and I started. So that was about June 2021. And everything else is history, literally.
Everything else you can see on Instagram.
Yeah, basically. Yeah. My
Hmm.
whole journey in this business. Sorry, that
So
was a very long intro. Sorry about that.
that's okay. Then we can learn more about you and relate to you and what you say even more. So, what is it that you like about working with independent teachers? Because you don't work with school teachers, right? You work with
Do you
freelancers
know?
like you and
It
me.
depends. It
Uh-huh.
depends because there are teachers who come to me. I'm very active in different Facebook groups. And there are people who are only just thinking about quitting school and who come to me for advice. Very often they come to me and first they just, consume a bit more of my content, listen to my podcast, and then reach out about some offers like my course or something. What do I find attractive? I find it extremely satisfying that I know how they think and I know what they feel. And every time, and let's be honest, there are people who do it, who do the business coaching for teachers, right? Who do help teachers find students online and things like that. You see it everywhere and it's becoming more and more popular. But when I see those people say, make 6 figures in your teaching business or make $100 an hour per student, I'm like, while it sounds exciting and somebody could argue, oh, you've got money blocks, I don't think that genuinely drives teachers. I don't think it's the money that drives teachers. So, like, money will be a nice addition, and I think people should charge what they're worth, but it's not the driver. So, how is that related to me? I find it extremely like a privilege to know exactly what makes teachers tick. And it's been proven to me so many times because when I hear at least once a week from someone, oh my God, how did you know that? Oh my God, this sounds like me. You read my mind. I'm like, yep, because I think the same, or I used to think the same. And I just use that knowledge. And it's just that, whoa, I could change how you think, or I could help you because I know how to meet you where you are at the moment. So I think this is the best. This is the biggest.
Another point where yeah, we are very similar. I also arrived to the conclusion that yeah, I would really like to share the shortcuts so people don't have to suffer for years like
Yeah.
me, and I can help them with changing their mindset if only just a little bit. So what is it about teachers that it's not so easy for us to sell ourselves? Why is it hard for us to think as a business person, and how can we change that?
I think that we get lost in the noise, basically.
Hmm.
Teachers, the majority of teachers, I'm not going to say everybody because I know people who like just step into entrepreneurship and the minute they do it, it's like,
Yeah,
it's
we have several
like,
ladies like that in
yeah.
our class.
And it's fantastic. And it's a combination of natural tendencies, personality, maybe some background, maybe some, I don't know, a combination of things, right? But there are teachers who I think, and this is the majority of people who go into that line of job, line of work, not job, work. um, we are natural connectors. So for us, it's less important that we sell, it's more important that we help, right? So helping always becomes a priority. And even the thing that we often think, like, oh, they won't be able to afford it. It's a typical, I'm not saying other like jobs don't think that, other professions don't think that, but I think in teachers it's so prevalent. And also another thing, so this is number one, we are connectors, which is a strength, but we don't know how to use it, and we get lost in the noise of mainstream marketing advice. So
Yes.
basically we try to duplicate what's working for other professionals. And another thing is that we have what's called a struggling artist mentality. So we think that if we don't struggle, then there is something wrong with our work, that there is something wrong with us, and that perhaps we're turning into bad people, or our work is less important, right? um I had so many conversations about this, and teachers having massive light bulb moments when they actually think, so it's not that teachers don't value their work, they absolutely do value their work. Like, I had a conversation, I don't want to give too many details, but I had a conversation with someone the other day, and how that person admitted that he recently found out that in his family there is a person who does some sort of a job where they are a sales assistant, like a shop assistant basically, and they admitted that they make like so much money per year. I don't know, what was it, 70,000 per year, like American dollars. And it was insane. And when he found out, and he doesn't even make half of it a year, he was like, he realized he does value his work, but it's like not even possible for him to imagine that he could make that, because you're supposed to make little as a teacher, because it's the mission that matters. It's not the money that matters, it's the mission. Because if we don't struggle, then we're not helping.
Yes, and we self-sabotage. So how can we change that? How can we get a healthy business mindset? Because we are business people now that we are independent. A lot of teachers became independent through the pandemic, and they don't know how to deal with this.
The first step is, it's not going to be any eureka, it's awareness. We need to know that this is a problem, that this
Yes,
is an obstacle. The only obstacle in business success is us, basically, and our own thoughts and our own attitudes towards how to build a business, how to like overcome different things. Because with the right mindset we can overcome anything and everything, literally.
absolutely.
And it's not to say that if you work on your mindset once, and like I remember I had this also another really really bizarre conversation with someone, and someone said like, oh, I don't have a mindset problem because my rates are high. Do you think that mindset comes down to rates for your lessons? Well, good luck. Mindset is a never ending work, right? Like, for example, my current mindset block is that I've never called myself a perfectionist, but I work so much. I'm such a workaholic because there is some inner belief that if I stop, something will happen.
Yeah,
Something that people, like, I will let somebody down, probably let myself down. And like, and I've only recently realized that, right? So it's a never ending
I want
kind
to
of,
send you like I want to give you a hug right now.
yeah. I
Yeah.
know, it's mad, isn't it?
Mhm.
But
Mhm.
so the only thing we can do is be aware and stop
Yes.
ourselves before we react. So, like, for example, oh, okay, somebody asks you, so can I have a discount because I'm paying for so many lessons, let's say. And then you have to stop and think, okay, here is a decision I need to make. I can make it from the place of fear, or I can make it from the place of love. So the place of fear would be, okay, I'm just going to give them that discount because otherwise they'll run away and I won't have a client. Right?
Yes.
Or I can make it from an informed place. Okay, I can give them a little bit of a discount because I don't mind, but they're not with me because they can pay less. They are with me, or they found me, or they're interested in working with me because I'm a professional and I do my job well, and that's it. And I can make that decision. And if they say no and they go somewhere else, then maybe it was not meant to be. So it's always about pausing and making a decision. I recently read that good decisions will always feel calm, and bad decisions feel erratic, like very, very shaky, like like fearful. Exactly. So so that's what I would say. It's always about pausing and thinking whether what we're doing, the decision that we're making, or the thought that we're having, is it comes from fear, or it comes from a reasonable, maybe not reasonable, but maybe from like a reliable place within us. So like an inner knowing rather than being afraid of something.
As you said, the first step is to be aware and then start making decisions that align with who we are, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
What else can we learn from business people when it comes to doing business? I don't necessarily mean big business, but this authentic, um, self-confident, and healthy business mindset. Is it a lot about customer care, strategies, pricing, processes? What is the main thing? What would you say that's next when it comes to shifting our limiting beliefs about, okay, am I just a helper or am I actually a business person?
Mm. That's a very good question. I feel like one of the most important decision, like the next oh, I'm so glad, good to hear that you're
Hi, Ivy. Good to have you here.
um I would say that when it comes to mindset, like, I mean, mindset is the biggest thing for me. It's not even mindset, it's just your whole being, and how you approach business with your whole being, and being holistic about it, rather than thinking that it is about strategy, about Instagram, about, I don't know, customer service, because it's not. So I would say that the next thing is thinking about, am I in it for the long game, or am I
Yes.
in it short term? So we often make decisions based on how we feel in any given moment, or based on a reaction to something, right? So for example, the stupidest thing might be, I mean, not stupid as in it's not stupid, but like it's silly how small it is. It's like you see that a post on Instagram or something is not working as well as you would want to, and you might assume that, oh, I should probably not do that anymore because it's not working. So this is making a decision based on that one piece. But then the long term thinking would be, okay, I've tried this, so I might try something else, not a completely different thing, but this, but tweaked, and see what happens next. Because to me, one of the biggest business skills that I've developed is the ability to experiment and drop perfectionism, because nothing ever is a ready-made product when it comes to content, emails,
Yes.
paid offers, or anything. It's always an experiment of some sort, right? And if you're trying to say to people that you're selling them something that is perfect, then you're lying to everybody, because then you're closing yourself for, even if it's a language course, like, how can you know that it's going to work out? Are you going to say that it's a perfect course that will, for 100%, will help you improve your English in whatever, in 12 weeks? How can you know that? That's
Yeah.
one. And number two, how can you close the doors to switching things up? I've got my course, my business course, and I'm running the third edition to it of it. 3 weeks ago, I messaged everybody and I said, guys, the last 3 sessions, I'm changing them completely, because even though I'm running it for the third time, I've only just realized you need something else here.
Yeah.
And they were like, oh, that's great, actually. How did you find out? Like, they were curious. And I'm like, yeah, because I notice, I listen. I'm like, I don't value my own opinion more than what you need. So and it was mind blowing. So yeah,
Last year.
this is it, I would say.
Mm-hmm. Ladies, you can see, and yeah, we have lots of very positive reactions to that. It's all about being you, being vulnerable, being authentic,
Mm.
not being afraid to show yourself, your mistakes, who you are, and just finding joy in all of that.
Oh, yeah. Oh
And
my
most
God.
importantly, live.
Guys, I have to share. There is a fantastic book. Oh, I don't have it here with me, but I've recently received a book by a complete. I mean, I did sign up for something, but I just wasn't expecting that book. The book is called Joyful as Fuck. And honestly, I read every page and I'm like, my face is like, Jesus, how come somebody's put into writing what business should be about? I'm going to send you a link here. It's available on Instagram, and the person who wrote it is a PhD. I don't know what they studied, like positive psychology, but I don't know, or just psychology, whatever. Doesn't really matter. But the book is absolutely amazing because it's the essence of what I want to achieve in my business. Joy, just joy, basically.
Right? Joy, because when we are joyful, our heart is jumping happily. Everybody around is
Yeah,
happier, and our business is running smoothly. We are more pleasant. We are more effective. We can
absolutely.
sleep better. But it's not that easy,
It's
right?
not. No.
Or is it?
No, it's not. And sometimes I feel like it's not about putting on a mask. And it's not about toxic positivity and thinking, oh, I'm having a
Absolutely
bad day, but I still have to put on a mask. No, it's about that consistent choice that I decide that it's going to be a good day. That's
yes.
it. Like, for example, yes, you're allowed to be on your period. You're allowed to have a sluggish day. You're allowed to have a nap. I have naps every day. You're allowed to be a human, right? But to make a conscious choice that in every morning that I'm going to make it a good day for myself, because I work for myself now and I have the control over who I work with, who I have a conversation with, what kind of project I work on, what kind of post I put out there, whatever, because these are all the choices that we have thanks to working for ourselves. And it's not about forcing it, it's about allowing ourselves. I'm actually having a light bulb moment now
Yes.
for myself, because I struggle with like there are days when I'm not positive, but I feel like people expect me to be positive. But then I'm learning not to force myself, because it's absolutely fine to have days when you can't.
What do you consider business success, Ola? Do you
Business
consider yourself
success.
successful?
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely. Uh, the minute I've stopped measuring things, I think I've felt more successful. I feel like it's all about gratitude of what you've got. I feel like it's all about like creating your own vision of success. And very often people don't spend enough time creating that vision for themselves, so they just borrow somebody else's vision of
Yes.
success. So, like having a certain amount of money. And while I do have financial goals, let's be honest, I do have financial goals, but those goals mean something so much deeper for me. Like, for example, at the moment, I have a financial goal. I'm not going to say what, but this financial goal will allow for my husband to quit his job and work with me. And it's amazing. And it will allow us for, so like in the UK, every 6 weeks, there is a week break from school, or sometimes even 2 weeks. They have a lot of bloody holidays. But anyways, we are usually very bored. We are a family who like easily gets bored. So we would love to be able to afford to travel to some crazy place whenever that holiday happens. So that's what the money will mean for us, right? We also like, I always like, whenever I think of money, I think of, oh, then I'll be able to do this for myself, for my family, for my house. But then I'm also thinking about the world. Like, for example, I've recently met, I mean, not met, but I've become friends with a neighbor, and she works as a parole officer. So she's not very well paid. And she's got that dream. She's got the dream of opening a refuge home for women with children, single women with children. And I said to her the other day, do you know what? I'm I'm working towards a certain financial goal. When I reach it, I want to help you. So let's be ready, because I want to help you open this. And I'm like, when I say it out loud, I'm like, it's not just about, a rich person paying for charity, but choosing what you do and feeling amazing about it. So, like, this makes me feel amazing. So, yes, I think that's the definition of success, when you can choose what to do. So, yes, I am really privileged because I've got my own house, I've got my own car, I've got like so many things, but I choose what to do later, right? So, yeah, that would be it for me.
I love that you're mentioning this topic of financial abundance and attracting positive things into your life because of that, and helping others and being a valuable member of a community. Because very often in our country, in the Czech Republic for sure, and I think it's all
Mm.
around the world, when you're an entrepreneur, sometimes people think that you are stuck up, that you must be a bad person
Oh, yeah, of
because
course.
you make a lot of money. But they forget that you can do a lot of good with the money.
Absolutely. I mean, not every entrepreneur makes a lot of money, but definitely there is a certain image
Yeah,
of a rich person who is a bad person. Like,
yeah.
whatever TV show or a movie you turn on, like, the vision of having lots of money is a negative vision. So there is a lot of stories around that, and I think that's what contributes to us being reluctant to make more. And it's a conscious choice to keep telling yourself it's safe for me to have a lot of money, because then I can do amazing things with it, right? And I make a choice. If you believe that you're an intrinsically good person, and I'm starting to believe I'm an intrinsically good person, then I believe that I will do good things with the money I make. So I have more motivation to make that money, right?
Would you use this point when talking to a teacher who is in a situation where they are surrounded by very close family members and friends who say these things about entrepreneurs? Because I speak to a lot of teachers who struggle with this. Yeah, their family members say, "Oh, you charge that per hour?
Oh,
Oh,
yeah, I
you
know.
must be a millionaire," or this envy
Yeah,
there.
yeah, yeah.
And it's really hard to stand your
Oh my
ground
God.
when you
I
are alone in the family.
I know, and it's very sad, and I can only imagine how bad it feels. I'm lucky and unlucky. I don't really have much family. It's just me, my husband, and my son in this world, and my husband is my best friend and the most supportive person in the world, but I can only imagine how hard it is when people who are close to you literally stab you with a knife like this, because it must feel like that at times. I always use that argument that, one, you make a decision on who you want to be and how you want to charge, and it's only your decision. And number two, yes, share your wins and your struggles with your family and friends and close people, but with a caveat of having a community somewhere else that actually understands.
Yes.
So don't share everything with them. So I think what you're doing with your community is amazing, because that's a safe space for
Yeah.
people to vent, for people to say, oh my God, and again, my boyfriend said that I charge too much. Maybe I should charge less. And like when I watch Facebook groups where teachers ask those questions every day, a million times every day, and they say, oh, but my husband said I charge too much. And I'm like, how many times can we have the same conversation? But it
Yeah.
is a real problem.
Yeah.
So yeah, just listen and say, thank you so much for your input. Let it in and let it out, and then vent in a community where people listen and understand what it feels like. Exactly, honestly. It's so
Thank you,
true.
Ivy, for this comment. And exactly, but we've been dealing with this topic here a lot,
I
yeah,
know.
and discussing it and staying strong and
But you
believing
know
in
what?
ourselves.
We could, and I think I've made that suggestion to someone some time ago. You could make a list. Oh, this is actually a technique. It's not my idea. It's a money mentor's idea that I learned from. It's called the bean dipping technique. Why is
Mhm.
it bean dipping? Because has anybody do you guys know Denise Duffield Thomas, the
Of
money
course,
mindset?
we talk
Yeah,
about her all the
exactly.
time
I
here.
don't
Yeah.
know if you know her technique. Her technique is called bean dipping. Bean dipping, because she's in Australia, and basically when they have barbecues, they dip everything in a bean sauce. Okay. So basically, what you do is when somebody makes a stupid comment like this, you use a diversion technique and say something else, but you have to be prepared. So basically, it's like asking, could you pass me the bean dip? Basically,
Aha. Yeah.
at a
Yeah. Okay.
table. So it's something else. It's talking about something else. So, for example, you could say something along the lines of, yeah, I charge that much, but this way I can pay for, I don't know, like an animal shelter, right?
Yeah.
But have you already paid for the animal shelter? Or like, if you want to be a little bit argumentative, I would probably want to be. But anything that works for you and that will naturally come out of your mouth, you can prepare a script and just use it in conversations, because why not?
It's
Then you
just
have more
such an
power.
unhealthy behavior, commenting on other people's lives
Yeah,
in this rude way. I
I
don't
know.
know where it originated, but let's be those who heal the society and
Mm.
teach others around us that it's okay to do what I want with my life, to make the money I want, to do it, to teach languages if I want, or not do anything for 2 months if I want. And yeah, just look after yourself and
Yeah.
wish me the best.
Oh, absolutely. And remember that when people, I also am a great, like I struggle with this sometimes, because I'm a very direct person and I sometimes may seem like an abrupt person, but on the other hand, I try to be very compassionate. And whenever I try to remind myself that whenever somebody makes a comment like this, whenever somebody reacts in such a way to something and that is hurtful to us, usually they're just projecting. They're
Yes,
projecting what they are feeling, that they maybe at some point wanted to have a business and would want to charge that much, or that they envy us something, but it's not about us. It's not about
exactly.
us. It probably only means that we're doing the right thing. They
Yes,
just can't stand it, and that's it.
yeah. Um, when talking about this, can we move to the topic of comparing ourselves?
No.
How about your experience working with teachers who come to you and say, but she is doing, we talked about it at the very beginning slightly, when it comes to Instagram, for example, but we can all feel this in so many different ways. She created this offer, or he is charging more, or look at her and her beautiful outfit during her reels, in her reels. How can we stop this? What do you tell the teachers that you work with?
So again, it's about awareness that
Yes.
we have a tendency to go there. And I think it's very human to be comparing ourselves. Because at the end of the day, when I work with teachers in my course, I always say that when you are creating something, whatever it is, a piece of content, a new offer, whatever, I actually actively encourage people to check what other people that they consider competition do, because if there is something like that, it's very healthy, actually. So the fact that something that you want to create already exists in some shape or form is a good sign, okay? But then there is this thing. You have two choices. You either get stuck thinking, oh, I'm not going to do that because she's already done it. So probably there is no point, right? That's one.
Hmm.
Or
Yeah.
number two, oh my God, I have to do it exactly the way she does it because it's worked for her, right?
Yeah.
Two. So choice number one, the reframe here is think about it. Let's say that there is two people talking about the same subject. I'm going to give you the example of the money mindset expert. So there is Denise Duffield Thomas, and there is another American lady called Amanda Francis. I don't know if you know
Mm-mm.
Amanda Francis. Exactly, and I think there is a reason why, and you will see after this live. I'm going to send you a link. Amanda Francis is this blonde, skinny lady who has pictures of her, and they talk about the same thing. The same thing. They even have similar like offers, you know. Her messaging on Instagram is like she sits in a bathtub full of $100 banknotes and a glass of champagne.
Okay, that's
Does
not
that
Denise at
speak
all.
to you? Does that resonate with you? It doesn't. So, what if Denise Duffield Thomas once thought, oh, Amanda already does that? I probably shouldn't talk about it because there is no point. So, think about it. Now, there is a person who wants to learn from you, but you think, oh no, another person's already done it. There's no point for me creating it because
Yeah.
nobody will buy it. No, it doesn't work like that. People don't come for different services to different businesses only for the service or for the course. They also come for the person who delivers it, or even if not mainly, actually, for that person. So if you're not creating that thing because you think, oh, it's too similar to somebody else, then you're depriving somebody of a chance to actually learn. Because
Yeah.
what if you were meant to be their teacher?
Yeah.
So if there was only Amanda Francis, I wouldn't probably learn about money mindset
Same.
because I learned from Denise Duffield Thomas because I resonate with her. She's got kids, she's got ADHD, she's got so many things that I relate to. Amanda Francis doesn't, and that's it. Another option is that comparison when you say, "Oh, I should do what she does
Yeah.
because it looks so great." Here you could use the technique of thinking about the iceberg. So you cannot, literally cannot judge somebody's business based on what you see from the outside because it's just the tip of the iceberg. You don't know what they've done to get there or what actually is behind it. Like, for example, and the biggest problem I think teachers have is when they see big Instagram accounts with
Yeah.
like thousands and thousands of followers, but then when you actually start digging, there are no sales, there are no paid offers, there
Yeah.
is just 1,000 of followers, and it's not monetizable at all. So like, yeah, I should make that real because it looks so cool. Okay, cool, get inspired, but will this actually help move your business forward? Or is it just because it looks shiny and it got lots of likes? And likes, we know what likes are. They are a massive dopamine hit,
Yes.
right? So it
Yes.
works on our brain. It satisfies a very, very, very primitive need in us, which is human. It's absolutely human, but we need to be aware of this. Yeah,
It doesn't buy us bread.
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
What about comparing our prices to other people's prices? That's another topic of
I
comparison.
mean, this is a big one, I would
Mm.
say. And like, let's be honest, we can't price things like out of the blue completely. There always has to be some sort of point of reference to the market. That's true. But we as service providers, and especially when it comes to bespoke services such as one-to-ones, um, we are individuals with a completely unique set of experiences, qualifications, gifts, talents, and strengths. So, how can you compare that to somebody else? Honestly,
Exactly. Yes.
that's it.
That's it. Thank you. Thank you. It's as simple as that, right?
Yeah, basically.
All right, my friends. So let's get into this topic of selling. Yeah,
Woo!
because
My favorite.
yeah, now we have the whole mindset, right? We've done the mindset work, and now we want to create exciting offers for our clients. So let's talk about, and then we want to sell them. So let's talk about niching, let's talk about creating offers, and let's talk about selling our products, shall we?
Sure.
Shall we start with niching?
Sure, absolutely. So I would say that, I mean, this is something that I've recorded multiple
I
videos
know.
on, and like honestly, this is another massive topic. But I would say that um, it's really important that you realize who you help, because without that knowledge,
Yeah,
you can very easily get stuck in comparison, stuck in what should I post today on my social media? Because if you don't know for whom that it or who that kind of post should reach, you're completely lost. Completely lost. So remember, and that's my first thing. It's how important that is. And the next thing is understanding that people have identities, right? People have identities. For example, we identify here in this group as females, entrepreneurs, and English language professionals, right? These are our identities. Mm, Remember that very often, maybe not always, but very often, a learner is not an identity. It's a temporary state, I would say. And a
hmm,
lot of people think that a learner is an identity, and that's how they kind of niche their content or their offers, right? And I think it's a little bit deeper than that. So very often we would think, oh, I'm just gonna teach people who like something, and there is nothing wrong with that, but you have to think what kind of people would like that. So let me give you an example. The other day someone said, should I create an offer where we learn English via like TV series? Absolutely, fantastic idea. But who are those people who are likely to be interested in learning English via TV series?
yeah,
And you have to answer that question for yourself, because it's not just learners, as you can see. It's not just learners, it's so much more specific than that, right? So
absolutely.
that's what I would
And
say.
so, what is the best approach to selling our courses when it comes to the online world? What do you normally suggest to teachers that either are beginners or even advanced and it's not really working well for them?
If it's not working, then we would need to diagnose what's not working, because there could be a ton of things that are not working. But I would say that to me, sales come down to a few very, very simple concepts. Number
Hmm.
one is having a belief and a conviction. It's not a belief, conviction that our offer is good
Hmm.
and that it's a good offer and that people, the right people, will find it useful and valuable. That's it. If you convince yourself of that, so there is mindset work, absolutely, but also experience, because I feel like the more you just do it. By the way, I want to mention imposter syndrome here. A lot of people
Yes,
think,
please.
let's get rid of imposter syndrome. Let's get rid of imposter syndrome. No, do not get rid of imposter syndrome. Be aware of your imposter syndrome and know how to deal with it. But imposter syndrome is actually quite healthy, because your imposter syndrome will tell you, okay, it's your first time running this offer, this type of course, or this type of whatever, an ebook that you're trying to sell, whatever you want to sell. And your imposter syndrome is, I don't know how it will work out. It's so healthy to think that. But then the more you do it, the more it's minimized, right? And it's absolutely normal and common. So it's exercising and it's feeling that, okay, I've been doing it for a while. I know it helped a few people. I've got evidence for that. I'm going to keep selling. That's it. That conviction that it helps. Okay. And number two is just making it a habit that we do sell our offers, because otherwise, how are you going to pay your bills? It all comes down to that, right? That everything we do, I always say to my teachers, stop posting on social media until you've figured out what your calls to action are, right? So your calls to action on social media should either lead to your mailing list or to a paid offer. That's it. Nothing else. Okay. I mean, if you want to ask people to comment or like, yes, fantastic. But the big call to actions should be sign up to my email list or my newsletter or whatever, or my freebie, or buy this thing that is in my bio, that I talked about in my stories, that's it. As simple as that. You
So
just
always
share.
have that big picture in mind. Even if there's
Absolutely.
something smaller, always have that big picture in mind that you are there, not to just procrastinate and create more word of the day posts. I'm exaggerating. We had Kate here last year. We know what not to do. But that big picture in mind, that otherwise it would be a hobby if you don't get
It
paid.
is a hobby. Yeah, it is a
If
very
you don't
expensive,
get paid, it's a
it's a very
hobby.
time consuming, stupid hobby, to be honest. And I think it's like, with all due respect to people who do it just because they want to, I think in the pandemic, there were lots of people who were just posting for the sake of posting because they genuinely liked it. But let's be honest with ourselves. We're not doing it just so that people would like it.
Yeah.
We're
What
doing
about
it
those?
to draw attention to our offers. And that's it.
Yes. And then teachers say, well, if the people liked my posts, they will find out themselves about my offers,
That
and
is,
they don't post call to action posts. What do you tell them?
I mean, that's literally one of the biggest nonsense
Yes.
things I've ever heard. And I hear it all the time. Don't
Yes.
get me wrong. I have no idea where it comes from. That people, because I hear it in different forms. People say, oh, but I have a website, or it's in my link in the on Instagram. Why wouldn't people just check? Because people fucking don't. People don't. If you don't tell them, they won't. Why? Start observing your own habits on social media.
Exactly.
Do you click on everybody's links in their bio? Do you click on everybody's websites? I was observing lots of the mentors I currently work for, with. I've and I've started thinking, how did I find out about their paid offers? I mean, it was clear to me that they had paid offers, but until they told me, hey, I'm running this promotion. Hey, would you like to join this? I currently have it in my link. I wouldn't have clicked. because this is how we work. This is how people's brains work until you tell them to do something. Also, our brains switch off a bit when we scroll on social media. And let's be honest, we do it because we need a break. We need, like, sometimes you probably do it too. I do something that it requires lots of mental effort, and then I just need a break and I pick up my phone. I know it's not healthy, but people do it too. So if you want to use that moment when that person picked up their phone to just scroll, you have to tell them what to do.
Yeah.
It's like with a child. Imagine that everybody is a 5-year-old. Without telling them what to do, they probably will do the opposite or will do nothing. Right? So that's what it is. Marketing, I always say my biggest piece of advice when it comes to marketing is be proactive.
Yes.
Do not wait for anything. Be proactive. That's it.
We tend to hide because we are just like we discussed at the very beginning. We are first helpers, and then long
Yeah.
time nothing,
And
and
that's
then
another
maybe
thing.
business people. So we don't want to come across as business people. How do we fight this? Because we need to
This is
pay
another thing. This is another
rent.
shift. It's you have to realize that selling is helping, that it's an energetic exchange between something that between us and another person, in which we do something for them that will improve their lives, and in exchange they pay us
Yes,
so that they are being held accountable. That's it.
yes,
They don't pay because they like how it looks. They don't pay because you've got a pink or blue font. They don't pay because you've got a colorful worksheet attached to your course. They pay to be held accountable. That's
absolutely.
it. And sometimes guide it a little bit and sometimes correct it when they make a mistake. But it's the exchange actually happens at the level of, okay, I'm committing to change, and they want to pay you money for that change. So actually all
Yes,
those details, when it comes to like how long should it be, like should I sell my lessons in packages, or should I do this, should I do that, they are secondary. The priority here is that you always have to assume that. Also, do you remember that saying that when the student is ready the teacher will arrive? Literally, you have to assume that every day there is a person who woke up with an idea.
I need an English teacher.
Ready to change my life. I need to get a grip of my English, and I'm going to find a teacher to help me. That they will find you on that day when they've made a decision. That's it. Because, and I know it's hard, it's a massive shift. It's every time I sell something and I'm in that hype of selling something, I feel like, oh my God, I'm I'm being pushy. I'm like, I'm
Salesy.
manipulating.
Yes,
I'm salesy. No, I always pause, step back, and say to myself, I'm just letting more people know that it's available. I'm
yes.
just letting more people know that it's available. Those who have already bought, those who have already used it, they don't mind. They don't mind because they love it anyway. And if they don't, then that's another story. But there is always has to be that assumption that there is somebody else who needs me, not somebody else.
You're already answering my next
Mhm.
question. When people teachers worry about spamming their audience, that they are, you know, saying it too often.
Do you know
Not
what?
true,
Do
right?
you know when we spam our audience? When we, that's the biggest trap. When people start being active on social media and talking and not talking about their offers and creating content that doesn't lead anywhere and just is for with like the purpose of educating them on like tips on how to learn or like new expressions and stuff like that. When you create lots of that content, you get your audience used to that free stuff. And
Yeah.
then when you come out of the bush and say, but I've got something that you can pay me money for, this is when they get angry, because they're like, I wasn't expecting this. I came here for the free content. And bless them, they have every right to be there for the free content. So it has to be clear from the minute somebody sees you that you've got something that they can pay for. So it might not be in every piece of content, but for me, it's, for example, if I create a piece of content that says, like, give somebody a tip, or that like is like just for entertainment, right? Then if they go onto my profile, it clearly states that I've got paid offers, right?
Yeah.
That's it. So
Yeah.
if you don't get people used to it, you will spam them and it will feel like spamming.
That's it. I love that answer. I never thought of it that way. My next question is about where, because few years ago, Facebook was big, and
Yeah,
then everyone shifted to Instagram, and now people are complaining about Instagram a lot, and a lot of them moving to LinkedIn or completely away from social media. What is your reaction to that? Do we stay on social media? Do we just work?
absolutely. Oh my God, why would you not?
Yeah.
Social media, we have to see social media as a tool, as an abundance of freedom, and a tool that can help, a strategic tool for business. That's it. Do not attach any feelings to it. Do not attach any like sort of meaning to it. It's a tool. That's it. If people start generalizing, like, oh, Facebook used to be big, now it's Instagram, but I hate Instagram, so I don't want to. This is the definition of fixed mindset. I
Yeah.
can't do anything about it because the world has changed. Fuck that. I'm just going to give up my whole business because there is no point. The reach on Instagram is awful. So I'm going to. If I thought like that, I would have given up my Instagram account about 6 times now. Literally. In September, my reels were reaching 500 people, and normally it's about, I don't know, 2 3 thousand, right?
Mhm.
And I was like, oh, I'm putting so much effort, it's pointless, I'm gonna quit. If I thought that, I would do that. So my advice here would be, it's not about what the trends are. Trends are a killer of connection. Ha, that's actually something I said to my masterminders, and they wrote it down in like Ola 2022. So if you want to write it down, trends kill connections, because it's not about what the trends are, whether Facebook is still big or Instagram is big or LinkedIn or TikTok, whatever. It's about where your people are and where you find the most joy. So EOT community teachers are not really on Instagram, to be honest. There is a much bigger community, from my perspective, on Twitter and on LinkedIn.
On LinkedIn. Yeah, that's where I
Exactly.
am.
I cannot, for the love of everything in the universe, make myself be more active on LinkedIn. Do you know what I'm going to do about it? Nothing.
Thing.
Nothing. I'm just going to stay in my own lane and do my own thing. Do you know what happens thanks to that? People say, oh, it's Ola, but she's not here. Just go check her out on Instagram. It's as simple as that, right?
Yeah.
If you don't feel like doing something, don't do it, because it will always feel forced. So do things that bring joy. If Instagram doesn't bring joy, just do something else. Remember that it's a tool, that it has to be used strategically, because it gives us such an amazing power and an amazing way of connecting with our audience, but do it in a way that works for you. And that's it.
And always use call to action.
And always use call to action. Yes.
And always point people to your mailing list, right? That's a big topic for you, isn't it?
Oh
Mailing
my God,
lists.
yes. Yeah.
Why is it so
Because
important to have a mailing list?
if you don't know why, then please do your homework, because social media, at least this year, I think died for 24 hours for at least twice,
Hmm.
if I remember correctly. So that's one thing. People lost accounts of 7,000, 10,000 people. How
Yeah.
are you going to find them again? They won't. It's like, honestly. So you absolutely have to have backup, and you do own your mailing list. If somebody gives you consent of having their name and email, you have it. You have right to use it. And it's much more intimate to actually contact somebody via email. I'm personally not great with emails, but it's something that you can, one, learn, number two, outsource if you have to. And it's by the way, there is this amazing lady who I've started working with, and she teaches teachers about copywriting, so writing emails, writing blog posts, writing everything, if you do it in English. But I think the advice that she gives applies to any language, actually. She is Copy That on Instagram, at Copy That,
Is
Lauren.
it Laura?
Lauren.
Lauren, yes,
It's
yeah.
amazing.
She's
So
friends with Kate as well, Bogar, I think.
uh,
I think
I
I
think she
saw her.
follows her. I mean, we work together. I
Okay,
don't know.
okay. Never
Maybe.
mind.
Yeah, possibly. But possibly, well, the world is small. And but basically, having an email list is a one-on-one of having a sustainable business.
Absolutely, because then you can send them offers that they won't see anywhere else, and it's like your private community that you can
Exactly.
interact with,
Exactly.
right?
Exactly.
What about the last topic, Ola? I know we spoke about it briefly when preparing, and I saw something on your Instagram that you also work with teachers who are not online much, who prefer to promote themselves offline. What do you talk about with these people, and what do you help them with when when they say, I'm sorry, but I can't be online. I can't be on the internet. It's too much. I have my website and then I have my classroom. People come to me, and I need to figure out new ways how to promote myself offline because we live in the post-pandemic world. People are returning offline, and a lot of people are excited about not living their
Yeah,
life online.
absolutely. And my advice for those kind of people is always, at least try not to completely cut yourself off the online world, because it just is a massive opportunity. Even if you want to work offline, those people who you are likely to find are going to hang out online. Everybody, whether it is 1% of your time or 99% of your time, hangs out online, right?
Yeah.
Apart from maybe elderly people who don't, right? But in most cases they do find information online. So even if it is a brick and mortar business, then thinking about, right, so if they are looking for something local, how are they likely to think? They are not going to read posts on Instagram or LinkedIn, but they might look for it on Google. So you need to have a Google business card, right? Like with your business, with your address and everything, because this is how they're going to find you. I've also helped somebody. We came up with this strategy. I actually had a client who was in her 60s and she was setting up her business, which was amazing. Honestly, it's such an inspiring thing. Um, and who just went to the local church. And she said, can I just say it? I say at the end of the service that I'm offering classes. Everybody was so happy. She was like, she had a full schedule 5 minutes later. Honestly, it was so simple. But you could organize an event. If you have an online, if you have a school, for example, you could organize seasonal events, for example, and advertise them in the local areas. Like, for example, I had a client who did a massive Halloween thing, and she thought, oh, it's not going to work. It's not going to work. And she only offered 8 spots. 8 spots sold out within 24 hours, and she had to open 4 other groups. There's people who even didn't have classes in her school. It was mainly for kids, wanted to come. So it's great opportunity for you to be more active in a community, right? Even if you think like, for example, I go to, maybe not now anymore, but I have a massage therapist who like lives nearby. And like I think it would be rude, but I sometimes think, oh my God, what if you organized like a little event and taught people how they could like massage their partner or something like that? This would advertise her services, but also would be such a nice thing in the community. Just be creative about it. this is it. I would say that that's, but don't close yourself to online. You don't have to spend every day there, but it is an opportunity. And even if it is not for like, it's not a typical strategy of content marketing, it still can be a strategy of a local business on Facebook. And people can tag you in a local group. Like, for example, if I have, in England, the windows open to the outside. So if you want to have your windows cleaned, you have to hire someone basically, because you can't clean your own windows outside. So how do people find out? They tag local businesses. That's it. So yeah, that's what I would
Yeah,
do.
and I'm so glad you're mentioning it because I built my business locally, a
Exactly.
very successful business before the pandemic. And yes, after the pandemic, it's a different story. But what I see, I don't know about the UK, but here people are hungry for coming back together offline
Yeah.
and spending time together, maybe not in huge groups and huge meetings and big events like before, but the more intimate, the better. I just
Mhm.
did this retreat for language teachers, and we were a smaller group, and it was the best. And the teachers
Oh,
always tell me that when it's not a 50 plus in size, I mean a 50 plus members or participants group, and it's much more intimate, they appreciate it much more, and people appreciate meeting offline so much now. So this advice about advertising in your community, massage therapist, or a church or shop, let's just go back to it because we are
exactly.
out of the pandemic. So let's use it because we need to reconnect physically. I just like this balance of offline and online. That's why I asked about it. Yeah,
Yeah,
because
absolutely.
we are spending
Absolutely.
so much time online, and now is the time to reconnect with our community and hug them and meet them in real life. And I would really like that for you. uh, I would really like us to meet, and for
Oh,
you
that would be amazing.
to
You
come
told me
and
about your.
join us here. So I would officially like to invite you to our Language Teachers Festival next
Oh,
May. Ladies, could you please tell us in the comments, those of you watching both live and the recorded version, if Ola would be someone who you would like to meet, listen to, maybe go for a nice cocktail with, because that's what
oh,
we do in the evening. It's a festival for a reason. Yeah, it's not just sharing wisdom and workshopping, money mindset and all these other things, but also having fun and celebrating. That was the original point and reason why I started this, celebrating us as language teachers, independent teachers who need to come together and support each other in also this human way. Yes, okay, here we have already.
yay.
Yes.
Well, thank you so much for the invitation. I would absolutely love that. I've recently realized that May is also the time when the IATEFL conference is happening.
Ah,
We'll have to change. I have no idea what the dates are though, but
okay, let's check and let's
I'm pretty
see.
sure. But I would be so excited to come. Honestly.
I think it would be such an honor, and you would be such an asset if you
Oh,
could share your wisdom and do a bit of work with us here in the Czech
I would
Republic.
love to have drinks and have some knedlíčky and some. Oh, what else? What else? Czech beer and
Hmm.
what else? What else
Wine.
do I know? And what else? Wine. What else did I have
Hmm.
in Czech Republic?
Here in Brno, it's a wine region, so we
Ooh,
like to go
I'll
to a
definitely
bar
love
and
it.
drink some nice wine in the evening.
Love it.
And
Or anything you offer, honestly.
it takes
Uh,
place in the
I would
center. I promise you, you would love it.
amazing. Thank you so much for the invitation. Let's talk about it soon. I'm very, very open. Let's hope that the dates work out,
It
and
would be
it'd
amazing.
be amazing. Thank
I
you
would
so,
love
so
to do
much.
something with you. Thank you, Ola, so much for sharing your morning with us and
It's been an honor.
your tips, your wisdom. I can see a lot of ladies here relate to what you're saying. I told you we're a very similar breed, like you and your community. So I,
Also, don't you agree that we Eastern Central Europeans, we just have so much in common? Like honestly, we just speak the same language in a
yes,
way, and I
we
always
do.
find it very satisfying to connect with people from our region as well. We
Yes,
we just
exactly.
we just think in a similar way for a different reason, and that's like the
Hmm.
reason for me.
Hmm. Hmm.
Love that connection too. So
Yes.
thank you. It's been an honor, and
Thank you so
obviously,
much. We love your energy. So I hope to stay in touch and we'll figure
absolutely.
something out. Yeah. So thank
Thank
you. Have
you.
a great day and ciao, everyone. Bye.
Bye, everyone. Thank you.